Hello my friends and welcome back to EVE Online with me, Mark from Dadex, and we're in an Incursus. We'll run through the fit very quickly. In the top slots we've got 3 Anode light particle cannons. They're blasters. They're short range with an 860 meter optimal and 3200 meter fall off. But on this fit we do have the tracking computer, and that's running the optimal range script. So that puts our optimal up to about 900. And our fall off just shy of 4,000 meters, which is a little bit of an improvement. We'll take it. So this fit is all about getting in close and doing the damage. That's given us about 166 DPS. If you're short of CPU on this fit, you can switch to other types of ion blasters, such as the regulated or the modals, or if you've got better skills than me, then maybe you could get neutron blasters on there. But I'd stick to the ions. I think they're a good balance. The mid slots, we got a compact Afterburner, a compact Weber, and a compact tracking computer running that optimal range script. So remember, you only need one of those, they're not consumable. Right, down in the bottom, again in the interest of preserving CPU, we've got the compact small armor repairer, the compact multi-spectrum energized membrane for the resistances. We've got one compact magnetic stabilizer and one magnetic stabilizer 1, just because I could. I only used the compact really on this fit because of the CPU limitation, and as I said, you can fit alternative blasters. That will free up about another 5 CPU. These are the ones I had handy, to be honest with you. The rigs, they may be optional. They're a huge chunk of the cost of this ship. The collision accelerator gives us 10% extra damage. The auxiliary nano pump gives us 15% extra repair, and the Trimark armor pump gives us 15% extra base armor hit points. So yeah, a whole lot of pumping going on. That is a mixture of base hit points and repair. I don't know if we're going to take a lot of DPS very quickly and need a bit more actual armor on the ship so we can pull range and repair. I don't know. This is my absolute first look, so I balanced it basically. Hedge me bets. Let's see how we get on. That's the only way to find out. So the cost is just over 4 million, but about 2 million of that is the rigs, which we may not need. We can assess that after we've run one and had a think. We also of course have one drone. In this case it's a Warrior 2 for no particular reason. It does give us an extra 10% DPS, but it may be more useful in another way. Anyway, we've only got the Firestorm filaments that I could get free of, and I had to go all the way to Jitter. It took me about an hour to get enough filaments together to run one frigate site, but we needed to know. So what we need to do is choose the frigates on the drop down, and what I haven't done at this point is, even though you're doing this solo, you still need to use 3 filaments, and you still need to form a fleet, albeit with yourself. So do that down here. Let's form fleet. Close the fleet box, we don't need it, and now we're in a fleet. And I'll take a moment to faff, realising I need to close this dialog box and reopen it because I formed the fleet whilst it was open. So I'll take the opportunity to remind you this is a Firestorm filament we're popping here, a Tranquil type. It is going to give us 50% increase to our base armour and everything else on the site. Take that into account. And it's going to reduce everybody's thermal damage resistances. So now we're all set up, ready to go, in we go. Now what happens here, which again is slightly different to when you do this solo in a cruiser, is the game now says you're in a fleet. Okay, there's your entrance, you need to jump in. This is to give you an opportunity to actually assemble your fleet. So there's always that one guy who's never quite ready. So if you popped your filament, I'm not sure quite how long this will burn for, to be honest with you, because I've never pushed my luck on that one. We're always ready. We're quite organised when we do this. But your mates can get here, then you actually just activate it like you would any other form of gate, reconfirm your entry, and that's it. The 20-minute timer is now ticking. So what are we going to find in the very first room of a tier 0 in an Incursus? This ship impressed me on the hunt, and that was really fun because it was so frantic. So with blasters, this may be similar. We've got in here a pacifier. There have been quite a few new spawns put in. This is obviously the part of the story where Edencom and Concord are now trying to stop us coming in the abyss and mucking about. So there's the info on the pacifier there for you. We need to get in close. We're going to set our orbit at 500 meters. Now what I'm doing here is I've obviously got my afterburner running. I've swung out of my web range, so my web hasn't activated. But the useful information we're getting here is that if we didn't have the web, we'd already be kind of messed up in this very first room, because as you'll look, we are not gaining on him. Until we get the web on him, we're not going to be able to get close enough to this pacifier to apply our blaster damage. So if you don't bring a web, you're going to be dead, is basically a little lesson that we've learnt here. In terms of the damage he's doing to us, there's nothing horrible. He's hitting us out at about 14 kilometers. I just think if you tried this kind of site with railguns, certainly on a frigate, you're just not going to have the DPS. And if they're hitting you out this far, you're going to have problems. So once we get in, now we've got the web on, you'll see our range is closing. He's not too scary in terms of how much damage he's got coming into us. We're handling that with the reps, which is all good to know. And once we get in close, we'll start getting our damage on him. There you go. As usual, during all that whole process, I fired my blasters way too early. I did my little clattering about. Yeah. My ship builds tend to let me get away with a little bit of that. Obviously, as this gets more hectic and you get more warmed up, you get much more into it. I don't know about yourselves, but I often find it's the first kind of event in my Eve play session where things get the most maybe out of hand. Simply because I'm not in the right frame. You know, I've got to get used to your ship and in the right frame of mind. You know exactly what I mean. Maybe some of you just log straight in and you're a killing machine from the moment you get there, but I'm not. There's that pacifier. He's quite big compared to us, look, but we've taken him down. No stress there. The reps more than handled that. There was a little bit of faff in there. If we closed range really quickly, I'm glad we got that demonstration, because some people go, why do you like webs so much? There's an instance there. We would not have got out of this room if we could not get close enough to apply DPS to that guy. And obviously he'd also going to be killing us, but it could be one of those situations where you have to self-destruct or just wait for the timer. Anyway, I'm going to speed up this section. The action's over. So if you've seen any of the videos where I'm out in the blaster destroyers going for clone soldiers, this is just basically the same technique. Get in close, get your blasters on it, web it, slow it down, try to get a nice tight orbit on it and kill it. Obviously just manage your reps as you're taking all that other stuff into consideration, but no stress there at all, as far as I could tell. 500k and an ammo blueprint in the first room, which is around what we were getting when we flew through in the Caracal, popping one filament. So remember, because you popped 3 filaments, even though we're still doing it solo, in theory we're getting triple the loot. So fingers crossed and into the next room. So that first room took us less than 5 minutes. What we got here, we got 2 drone frigates. The blast needles, they do explosive damage. Another thing, this is now the 3rd tier 0 site I've been on. I've had no EWAR effects on me, so no target painting, nothing like that. It's just us and a fight, which is kind of cool. That might not continue, as I say, 3 sites is not many. So with these guys, exactly the same technique. We're going to get into them nice and fast and furious. We're going to get in 500 meter range we're going to aim for. I'm not doing anything more scientific than that. Get the web on them, get shooting them. Make sure you turn the tracking computer on so you're getting the benefit of it. Obviously it will deactivate when you jump through the gates. And we're not really hassled here at all. Some light reps, plenty of capacitor. We've not been close to getting really low on the capacitor yet, which I didn't expect us to. So it may be that going forward we can adjust this bit. We could try it on an electrical. We could rep forever in there. I'm sure we'd have enough capacitor just to leave the repper running forever. But this is quite a nice way of learning how to use your ship and get in, control the range, get where you need to be and get out, and also get used to running a few different modules at the same time. There's that tracking tower. So in that instance, if we'd been in range to get this effect, it's going to boost all of our tracking. So you know, so there's no advantage for us. So yeah, the blasters are definitely getting the job done. Obviously we've got a bit of time now. We've still got plenty of time on that timer. We can chill, we can let the capacitor get charged up. We can even let the shields get a little bit charged up, although they're not really that relevant. And just make sure we're comfortable before we go on into the next room. But what have we got in this lovely loot box? And that's 1 million there, and also a nice stash. 4 filaments for Tranquil level sites, 4 filaments for Calm level sites, I think that was. That's much more like it, Loot Fairy. Who needs cruiser PvP abyss filaments when they're in a tier 0 in a Frigate A? Right, next room, third and final. This is another new monster, a Skybreaker. This is one of the Edencom ships. Look at that. I don't think I've seen one of these around ever before. What an ugly looking thing. It looks kind of cool. Bit of a transformer. Right. We're going to stick to exactly the same game plan. We're going to get in reasonably close. We're going to get into our 500 meter orbit. And we're going to hit him with everything we've got. And we're going to see how that plan works out. I haven't had to come up with a plan B yet. I put the drone out, and as you can see, he's getting hammered. I thought he would, that's why I left him till the last room. If nothing else, he's keeping this guy's DPS off us for a few seconds. So, when in the beginning I said I'm not too worried about what kind of drone I've got in here, I'm thinking he's kind of more a decoy. It is, to be fair, about 10% onto the DPS, that Tech 2 drone. But as you can see, I'd save it till the last room. He's going to go down quickly. He's going to save you a little bit of aggro, do a little bit of damage to them at the same time. That's certainly what I ended up doing in the hunt with the Incursus, is chucking out the drone in that last room just to distract that nasty little bugger with all the loot. So, Skybreaker, get in close and get your blasters running. I've had to overheat nothing. The rigs might be debatable as to whether they're required. You could half the cost of the fit if you could do without them, but why skimp? I mean, this is not overly comfortable. It certainly wasn't like it will be if you get yourself a cruiser and come through. Just because a cruiser has got so much more tank, you're going to have no problems on a tier 0 site in a cruiser. But this is obviously a cheaper version, or should I say way of doing it. It's also, as I say guys, I keep saying this in all my videos, it's a way of you getting used to banging your ship around, a bit of roughhousing, taking some damage, maybe it getting a little bit close sometimes, maybe sometimes you'll lose a ship. I've lost 2 ships this week and I'm not sad. Some more loot, some more filaments and some more juice. Right, where are we on the total loot for this site? I think we've actually done incredibly well. Let's have a look when we grab this stuff once I get back into range. So let's see. Oh yeah, that's another little pile. So overall, we've got, it's saying just over 3 million there, which is way over the 3 times loot that I expected. And to be honest, these Tranquil filaments, and we've got what, 4 there? They're worth like over $1 million each. So if you wanted just to sell a couple of those on, or the ones you're not going to do, right now, the filaments themselves, if I sold those filaments, yeah, that's 4 mil, maybe 6-7 mil right there, because some mug like me who really wants to get in and see what these sites are about will pay that price for them. But obviously now there's going to be more of them about, the prices will equalize. Anyway, there's our first run, there's our starting point. We've done it in a blaster active tank Incursus. We've made 3/4 of the cost of the ship on the first run that we've done with it, and over if you actually took into account the silly prices right now. That took 10 minutes and it was a fun, engaging 10 minutes. Maybe more fun than mining in Adventure, who knows. Anyway guys, if you've liked this, leave us a like. Any comments, feedback, suggestions, always very, very welcome. Subscribe if you want to stay in touch. We'll be back soon. Remember, even is believing. Take care of yourselves, each other, and goodbye.